What would you do if you lost your job tomorrow? Would you have something to fall back on for an emergency? Or would you have to go to a payday lender? Or would you have to go get a credit card? Or would you have to ask people to borrow money? Um, this, unfortunately, is a dilemma that we have seen in America. They see it all. We see it all over the globe, and people run into these problems, and sometimes it happens without you even in a snap of a finger, and sometimes we know it's coming. So this next step to getting out of debt is to save 3 to 6 months worth of your salary. Okay. So this seems like it's difficult, but it's really not. So here's kind of the guidelines. And again, I'm getting this from Dave Ramsey because this is what I did. This is the journey that I took. And here's kind of the rules and parameters for that. So it's 3 months if you have a normal 9 to 5 job, right? You aren't getting commissions. You're not being paid for any sales. You have no base salary. You need to save 3 months worth of emergency funds. Okay. So what we're doing is we're adding to the emergency fund prior, which I'll get into here in a minute. Now, if you were in sales, you make commission. Really, the goal here is for you to have about 6 months of emergency funds to fall back on, because let's just be honest, let's say the market tanks a little bit or something changes in your sales. You're not getting the same amount of, your pipeline kind of gets dry. Things just happen. It gives you money to fall back on for a longer period of time because you may need it. So again, if you have a full-time job, 3 months. If you're in sales, commission like I am, 6 months. That is the goal for you to be at, okay? And again, this is emergency only. We don't touch it. We don't do anything with it. Now, I have some other ideas you could do with that money while it's just sitting there. But that would be another conversation that we could have another day, another time. You can even call me about it, all right? And so going from there. So how do you get this money? Remember those credit cards that we talked about earlier? Remember that extra $450 to $500 I have extra now per month because I'm not paying all this money on all these cards and all this debt? Well, I'm going to start using that same money to build up from my emergency fund that I had earlier, right? So let's say that you need for 3 months, you need $10,000, right, in your emergency fund now. You now have an extra so you already saved up $500 to $1,000. You only have to save up another $9,000, right? And so you're going to build that pretty quickly now that you have an extra $500 a month in your disposal. Again, we're keeping our budget in place for this to happen because we need this for a huge emergency. But this is also going to help you when the lender asks you for your debt and income, and they're going to ask you what you have in your savings account, and they want to see reserves. Okay. And again, usually it's about a month to 3 months that they want to see in reserves. So again, it's something very important to have. It's something that you need anyways. So save up as much as you can, but literally we really only need about 3 to 6 months or so. So take your income, like what you make per year, and figure out what 3 months of that would look like, 3 to 6 months of that would look like. Do what's appropriate for your particular situation and case, and put that money to the side for that particular situation, okay? And here's the thing, I didn't get to mention it earlier in the last video, is that, because I'm trying to make these things short for you, is what I want you to, if you decide you don't want to have credit cards at all, that's perfectly fine. You don't want a credit score, you want a 0 credit score, we can do that too. Because there are other lending programs out there which are manual underwrites. It's a little, they require a little bit more finesse with them, but they're doable. However, in those cases, they do want to see a lot more money in your reserves, which is why we're saving which is another reason why we're saving 3 to 6 months, is because that's going to show up in your reserves if you're trying to do that. So if you don't want to even build your credit and you just want to pay everything off and just live on your income like we've talked about and just use a debit card, then that would be how we would approach that situation. But when you approach that situation, you can't have any debts. So I need you to understand, you can't have any debts. So depending on which way you want to slice this pie, that's how we would approach this. But the big thing here, the big thing here in this video is save 3 to 6 months in emergency funds, and we're going to use the money that we have extra from not having all these credit card payments to do that, okay? And again, use that based on your situation. And here we go. Like I mentioned earlier, this is building confidence and it's building momentum to get you to a place where you feel free, you have all this baggage off of you, you see that you're making great decisions, and you're in line because your credit scores are up, you have money saved in the bank, and you're getting ready to purchase a home, and you're already starting to live a life worth living, I imagine. So you're doing great you're doing great. If you're at this point already, then I am absolutely happy for you. And you will see in the next video the next step that we're going to take. All right, guys. I've enjoyed it as usual. If you are thinking about buying or selling a home, or you have questions about buying or selling a home, give me a call. Again, my name is Kevin Wells, and I'm your Bald Headed Agent here in Greenville. Look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.